Does everyone remember this? The team at Arcane Austin has incredible ambitions for their game, and we wanted to ensure that you received the best, most polished version of them. This was right before the Microsoft Bethesda showcase in 2022. You delayed this game, so this wouldn't happen. Who do we blame here? Is this a Microsoft problem or is this an Arcane problem? Because 2023 is supposed to be the year that Microsoft really starts this train rolling of all these different games coming out. So why does it seem like no matter what they show for Redfall, they can't quite get everyone pumped up for it? There's always some negative thing happening. First, it was the marketing for it, right? Gamers all over social media assumed this was some Left 4 Dead style game, and Arcane stayed quiet. They didn't say anything until months and months and months down the road, and they finally clarified this is more Far Cry than it is Left 4 Dead. The next firestorm Microsoft and Arcane had to dodge was the fact that Redfall requires an online connection to play. The thing that's ridiculous about that one, once they saw the backlash, which I cannot imagine they didn't see coming, we got bombarded by all these articles saying that Arcane was listening to all the pushback from this and they were going to work on a fix for this. I mean, seriously, can we just stay one way or the other? As a company, you had to have known that people were going to be upset about this. Stick to it if that's what you want your game to be, and deal with the pushback. Or just make sure the game was able to be played offline and never even announce this. The marketing behind this is just absurd. Oh, but that's not all. Then we were all met with this wonderful gameplay trailer by IGN. And you know, the crazy thing about that video is I don't necessarily blame IGN for that one too much, outside of the fact that you probably should have had someone who at least enjoys playing FPSs. You can definitely tell that the individual playing it just isn't that great at them, and that's okay. We all know people who are like that. Nothing wrong with that. Ugh, man. I'm looking at the same footage you are currently, and it's just, it's so obvious that this person doesn't play FPSs. All the decisions that they're making are clearly wrong, and I don't know if they were trying to show off different things in different settings, but it just came off so horribly. You know, actually, this footage is so bad, one wonders, was there a marketing person for either Microsoft or Arcane that watched this and approved it before it was released? Because if there wasn't, what are you doing? And if there was, what are you doing? I just don't understand how anybody at Arcane or Microsoft saw this and was like, ooh, this is how we want to feature our game right before release. This is the kind of thing that happens in the Xbox ecosystem that adds credence to the fact that people are concerned about them getting too big to manage all of their studios. This is why you see so many different videos out there where people are talking about how the entire market is getting consolidated into a couple of large companies. And if one of those large companies happens to be Microsoft and things like this happen with a game that is supposed to be a big deal, of course those concerns are justified. And then this all leads us to the latest. Redfall is launching on Xbox consoles with only a quality mode. So the Series X is going to be 4K 30 FPS, and then us Xbox Series S players will be stuck at 1440p 30 FPS. There will be a 60 FPS performance mode added at some time after the game releases. And here we go with another marketing failure. Do you remember when all of your favorite YouTubers and Twitch streamers and such got invited by Bethesda and Arcane to play the game and then they all released videos on it? Do you remember how none of them complained about the fact that the game was running in 30 FPS? That's because they all played the PC version of the game and it was running at 60 FPS. This is another example of one of those moments where it looks really scummy on the developer to hide the fact that the game's going to be running at 30 FPS on the console market, which, by the way, is where the majority of people are going to be playing this game. Oh, and if you decided to finally settle on the release date just a couple months ago, and you knew the game wasn't going to be launching at 60 FPS, shouldn't you have gotten this out of the way back in January during the Direct or right after the Direct? Or perhaps cut your losses and just don't announce a release date until you for sure can launch the game at 60 FPS on both consoles? Or at least the Series X at minimum? I'm not typically someone who likes to fuss over 30, 60, 90, 120 FPS. I get it, it's better for some games. But this is one of those games. Shooters, first-person shooters, where you need to be moving around a lot and you need to be agile. This is the type of game that needs 60 FPS. Now, I don't have a pulse on all the different gamers out there, but I can definitely tell you myself, I much prefer to play at 60 FPS and have it be a smooth experience, more so than constantly being wowed at the graphics. Which, by the way, I thought you were supposed to be able to have both of those with the Xbox Series X. Wasn't that what all the marketing about being the most powerful console on planet Earth was all about? Especially from a studio that is first party and is only making their games solely for your hardware? I gotta be real with y'all, this just doesn't look good. I'm not typically someone who just believes in bad vibes, but Redfall just constantly feels like it has something going on with it. It's never 100% positive. Every time it is shown, there feels like there is some sort of negative thing that shows up within like a day or two. All I can say is this, that hopefully for at least one of you watching this video, by time you get to this point, Microsoft or Arcane has actually commented and said something about this issue. You need to get this one right, Xbox. I really hope that come this winter, people are still talking about Redfall in a positive light and it hasn't become yet another meme of the video game industry.